Good morning you guys, it's Karen, and I thought I'd come and do a my skincare rules video. And I was a bit hesitant about this, but it's one that somebody had actually requested. She'd said she enjoyed the hair care one that I did and hoped I would do a skincare one. And I seem to remember that, I don't know if it was the same person, but I think it might have been. Somebody had asked me that before, like if I could do a kind of skincare, my skincare rules, my skincare tips and tricks, that kind of thing. And every time I thought about it, I thought, I don't know that I have anything unique to offer. I thought, you know, I do things a little bit differently in some respects and people might not agree with it. And then the other things I do, I think people know about. But I thought, no, you know, you need to, I'll share them. And if they're useful, they're useful. If they're not, you know, or if you think I'm crazy for some of them. So I have actually got 11 things on here, 11 little things that are my kind of skincare rules, I guess. Number one is actually something that I didn't know it had a name. I can't even remember how I came across this. I think I saw the title of a video. I thought, I've got to see what that is. And it's called slugging. And slugging is basically where you put a thick layer of Vaseline onto your skin and leave it on overnight. And it's something that's used for people with eczema. I know this because obviously Kev's got eczema and he's got a friend who suffers really badly with eczema. And so it's something where you tend to do it on your body. But it is something you can do on your face as well. And it's something that I've done over the years on my eye area. And you have to be very careful because, you know, a lot of things around your eyes can make your eyes water, but this thankfully is not something that makes my eyes water. And I just have like little tubs of Vaseline all around the place. I use it for my lips, I use it for my cuticles, you know. And so sometimes I've got one on my bedside. Sometimes I will just put a layer of that kind of under and on my eyelids and leave it on overnight. I tend to do it when I'm doing some kind of treatment on my hair overnight as well. So if I'm using an oil on my hair overnight, I tend to do that, what they call slugging, I suppose, but I only do it on my eye area. But if you have very dry skin, it's something you can do all over your face. You need to be very careful what you put underneath it. Like, don't put it on top of, say, a retinol or an acid or something like that, because it traps these things in and, you know, will intensify the experience of whatever's underneath it. So it's better if you put something like a glycerin or something moisturising underneath. But yeah, so slugging is something that, like I said, I've sort of done over the years. I do it on my hands sometimes. I don't like to put my hands in gloves, but again, I tend to do it when I've got an overnight treatment on my hair so that I'm not, because I'll tend to, you know, flick my hair away or something and end up with it in my hair. So that's number one. Number two is that I adjust to my needs and I trust my skin, is how I've described it. But I do skincare routines for you guys, and maybe something I never say is how transient that routine is or how short-term that routine is, because I am constantly changing my routine depending on what products I have and what I feel my skin needs. And I like I said, I listen to my skin, and my skin has literally changed so much. With being on YouTube, I used to only have oily skin, you know, and everything I wanted to use was for oily skin, was matte, whereas now it is a combination of, I have oily breakouts, I have really dehydrated skin sometimes, you know, sometimes it feels really tight. I can get really dry patches on it depending on what I'm using. And so I really do listen to my skin. And I think maybe you can get caught up in too many products that you want to fit into one routine. And that's how I felt. You know, I'd be like, well, I've got all of these products that I want to use, but how do I fit them all together? And I think the thing to remember is you don't have to use everything every night. You know, you can use different things on different nights and just see how you feel, see what you feel like using, see how much time you've got, and what your skin needs. But also you can rotate items. So for example, I might use a niacinamide serum until it runs out, and then I'll use a matrixyl peptide serum in place of that until that runs out. And you know, I think it's good to give your skin variable products, but in a more concentrated way. So using a niacinamide on your skin versus using a niacinamide and a matrixyl, I think it's good to just use one of those, you know, and just like change it up when you can. So I should have done this video with no makeup on, because I do think that I've got pretty good skin for my age. I know that I've got a lot of crow's feet, but they actually look a lot worse when I have makeup on. You know, that is just one of the downsides to makeup. Number three, this is two things actually, is I always remove my makeup before I go to sleep. And I have been racking my brains and trying to think, did I ever not remove my makeup? And I was thinking, there must have been a time when you were a teenager or in your early 20s or something where you were so tired, or maybe even when you were tipsy, or you've been out drinking or something. But it doesn't matter how much I've been drinking, how tired I am, I have always taken my makeup off. Maybe not as meticulously as I would, on any normal day, but I always make sure I take every scrap of makeup off that I can be bothered to. So I've never ever gone to bed with makeup on, and I've always worn an SPF, literally since I was a teenager. And it was very, very hard to find one for the face, and it was hard to find one that was above an SPF 10 or so for the face, or even for the body. I mean, me and my sister used to put baby oil on and sit in the sun. There was nothing about SPF then. Where is it? Sorry about that disturbance. What was I saying? I was talking about SPF and how it was very, very difficult to find anything high SPF and also for the face. And I remember it must have been when I was in my 20s I found this, because I can't imagine I could have afforded it before then. But I found that Christian Dior did an SPF 25, I remember, for the face. And even the woman behind the counter, the woman that was serving, and I don't know how I found out about this SPF, she was saying to me, well, you shouldn't use this every day. This is just for going in the sun, And I was like, no, I should use it every day, And I got that knowledge really from my nan, because my nan said to me, my nan's skin was amazing and she looked so good for being 80. And she said that all she did was she washed her face with soap and water. She put a little bit of Astral cream on her face and she never went in the sun. That's really all she did. She always stayed out the sun. So I think that's where I got this idea that, I was going to be in the sun, so if I protected my skin from the sun, it would be fine. So since then until now, I have worn an SPF pretty much every day of my life. I say pretty much because now there'll be days where, especially with my migraines, where I know that I'm not going to be leaving the house until maybe the evening when it's dark with Watson for a walk, where I don't think I need it because I have the curtains closed and I'm in the dark. But most days I wear an SPF, and I think it's never too late, because even if you are 70, do you want your skin to look the same when you're 80? Then use SPF, and it's not going to cure any wrinkles or anything, but it's going to prevent further damage, further age spots, further lines, etc., etc. I did smoke as well, and that's probably where a lot of my crow's feet have come from. I smoked a lot for many, many years, and it's probably one of my only regrets in life. So quit smoking as well. Okay, number 4, leave something by the PC to use additionally. Okay, so I've said PC, I don't actually leave the thing by the PC. I'll show you the things I've got. I've got 3 things sitting, I think it's just out of view, but I've got a little chest of drawers by the door, and I often stand by that door. What do I stand by that door for? Getting ready, actually, and there's a full-length mirror opposite that door. It's something, obviously, I come in and out of this room as well, so I will always see the product sitting there, and it's something that as I go past I can grab this. This is the Beauty Pie, what is it called, Uber Youth Neck and Chest Super Lift Serum Spray. So I will spray it and just rub it in throughout the day, or I will use the Niod Superoxide Dismutase Saccharide Mist on my face and neck, or I will use this on my neck. This is the Borage Seed Oil from The Ordinary. And so the reason I do that is I don't use oils very much anymore. I feel like I've kind of repaired my skin, if you like, and doesn't need the oils as much. Occasionally I'll use them. My neck is one thing I really, really want to work on, and so that's something where I'm not going to disturb my makeup. I don't have any makeup on my neck, and so I can use any other products I want. And then there's a lot of days that I don't have any makeup on, so I can put something additional on my skin throughout the day. And so I think it's just a little bit extra, because you do your morning routine, you do your evening routine, and I just take it as a chance to do something extra for my skin when I can, or when I remember, or when I see it. And this is one of those things that you might think is crazy, because I suppose really you should do it, you should only put products on really clean skin, and I'm not cleaning my face. But how dirty am I getting? walking around the house, you know. And I just, it makes me feel good to feel like I'm using these products that would maybe just sit there and wait, like especially this oil, that would just sit there and wait, and I wouldn't really use it in my routine. But occasionally I'll put, you know, spray that and then put a couple of drops of oil on top, and I do feel like, I'm benefiting my skin. The reason I said PC is because I assumed that a lot of people are sitting at their PC, and that would be a good place to have something that you can just grab and use, you know, same way you do with a lip balm or whatever. Number 5 is really simple, and that is I don't use water if I have any breakouts on my skin. And so I have done a whole video on why I don't use water on my skin, or why I rarely use water. I can't remember how I worded it. I actually use water more now, but if I had a breakout, any kind of breakout, whether it be, you know, an acne type breakout or an allergic reaction type breakout, I just stop using water on my skin, and I cleanse only with like micellar water or oily products that take the makeup off, and then I would use the micellar water over the top to take any residue off, that kind of thing. And I just wouldn't take my makeup off in the shower, because that always seems to aggravate and spread any kind of breakout. Number 6 is a more recent one, and it is to use my infrared light as often as I can. And so I have 2 forms, as you guys know. I've got my care lamp, and I've still also got this that I do use. This is my Current Body LED mask. And again, I've done a whole video on the differences between these. If I had to take one of these with me and could only take one, I would take this, the care lamp one, because it is just brilliant. It's really brilliant, and it is, I've used it for so many things in addition to my skin. You know, I've used it for my knees, I've used it on Watson for his joints, so I'm using it on a lot of different things. Kev's used it. But I love this. I feel like when I sit in front of this, you only have to sit in front of it for like 5 minutes, I think it is. In fact, is it even 3 minutes? I normally put my timer on. I always look at the instructions. I can never remember the exact time. But I sit in front of it and I just feel so refreshed. And my skin always feels like kind of a little bit just rosy cheeked, you know. So I love that. But I did see the most difference in my skin when I consistently used this. So I don't consistently use it because I either don't have the time or I don't feel up to it or whatever. But when I used this, I did see a massive difference in the photos of my skin. My skin looked plumper when I used this. So this is more one that I can use while I'm sitting watching the TV, versus this where I have to do in here on my own, you know, away from Kevin Watson, because it's just too bright. So some kind of infrared light as often as I can is one of my rules. Okay, number 7 is to ignore the names such as overnight moisturizer or day cream. So that's something, again, that I've done for quite a few years, not my whole life, but for quite a few years. I've realized that a lot of writing, a lot of things are or a lot of names of things are just marketing. And so, you know, an overnight hydration mask is just a night cream. But there's no reason I can't use that night cream during the day unless it's got retinol in it. And you can use retinol in the day, but you just need to make sure you use a good SPF on top, and it's preferable to use it at night. But you can use it during the day. But that's the kind of thing you'd want to look out for. Has it got anything that's going to irritate my skin whilst being in the sun? If it hasn't, then it's absolutely fine to use as a day cream. And conversely, day creams I have used many, many times as night creams, unless they have SPF in it. And that's normally because I've bought something that incidentally has an SPF in it. I wouldn't use that at night. I don't need an SPF while I'm sleeping. I don't want to put an unnecessary ingredient on my face, because an SPF really does just protect from the sun, or protect from UV rays. So I have used day creams as night creams. I've used night creams as day creams. I've used serums instead of night creams, you know, even though it says use over, I use under. So I guess it's back to that one of kind of ignoring the rules and just doing what your skin needs. And if you find a day cream that you like to use at night, then don't worry about it. Number 8 is another more recent discovery, and that is Tca Peels. To do Tca Peels on my eyes as often as I can make myself do it, basically, because it's just, I'm not very good with extra things, you know, but I have seen such good results with the TCA peels on my eyes that I want to keep on doing them and see, you know, how much of a result I can get. I feel like my eyeshadow sits better now on this eye. Last time I did it, I just did this eye. I was really short of time and I thought, you know, I'm just going to do this eye. And so I just did it. And do you remember, I've got that bit where my eyeshadow catches, and it's definitely not catching as much anymore. So I'm going to keep on doing TCA peels and, you know, seeing hopefully better and better results. And I would like to do TCA peels like under my eyes as well, which I haven't done before. Number 9 is I don't put any oils near my eyes. Whenever I do use something like this or anything that's got an oil in it, like an oily serum, I stop here, because if I put it around my eyes water. And they water terribly. And I've done a video on how I stopped my watery eyes, and it was not using oils around my eyes, and I use a product called Opticrom eye drops. They seem to stop it if it has started, you know, but obviously prevention is much better. When my eyes do water, it's because I've put oils around, something oily around my eyes, or, which is actually number 10, something with fragrance in it. If I do that, my eyes water so much that it will take one lot of eyeshadow off, and I look like I've got one eye with eyeshadow and one without. It's really bizarre. So I would say avoid any fragrance around your eyes, avoid any oils around your eyes, and get this Opticrom eye drops. If you do have watery eyes, it's really good. And keep them hydrated as well. I do use more hydrating drops now, kind of regularly. Like I said, number 10 is use minimal fragrance. I definitely feel that my skin has benefited from not using fragrance. It's a lot smoother. There's a lot less like tiny little irritated spots or redness. There's a lot less of that since I don't use as much fragrance. I do occasionally use products with fragrance in, often by mistake, because I've bought them and not been able to look at the ingredients because I don't have my contacts in, or, you know, been in too much of a rush, and then I found out they've got fragrance in. If it's too much, I'll just not use it. If it's only a little bit, sometimes I will. But my basic rule is little to no fragrance, please. The last one on the list, I will see if I can find the sheets that I have that kind of go with this process I'm talking about. And if I do, I was going to see if I could upload them on Patreon, but make them available for you all, so I'll probably do that. But you don't necessarily need these Excel spreadsheets that I made specifically to create a skincare routine. But what I would say is my rule is I do this probably once a year. I should probably do it more often, but I'll sit and write down all of the products that I've got, and I'll write down what are the issues that I want to address, and then I'll think about what is the ingredient that I need to address that problem, and then look at the products I'm using and see, am I just using things that don't actually address the problems that I want? I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I think it will surprise you that when you actually write everything down, you're like, oh, okay, so I'm using that product, but that's actually for somebody with hyperpigmentation and I don't have that, or, you know, I think you need to look a little bit deeper into your skincare sometimes and plan it out and think, what do I want to achieve? What is my biggest concern, and what do I want to address, and what is the most proven product for that? And then take it from there. Okay, that is everything that I've got to tell you about my skincare rules. I hope that you found that interesting. If nothing else, hopefully you picked up a couple of nuggets that you might consider doing yourself in your skincare. And I would love to hear from you. What are your skincare rules? I imagine a lot of people now are no fragrance. That's really kind of gathered steam over the years, and people are realizing that fragrance isn't great for your skin. But yeah, I'd love to hear your tips and tricks, particularly ones that are from, you know, the older generation. I find that really interesting. That's everything. I will list all of my makeup in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.